I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, all my accumulations from the practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, all my accumulations from the practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, all my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye Joda Sogi Chona Bardo Dani Gyakso Che Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Jola Benje Sangye Globara Shu Sangye Joda Sogi Chona Sanjo Bardo Dani Gyakso Che Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Jola Benje Sangye Globara Shu Sangye Joda Sogi Chona Sanjo Bardo Dani Gyakso Che Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Jola Benje Sangye Globara Shu Om Ye Dharma we are on page 69. Last paragraph. Last paragraph.
Yeah, stop. Middle of the paragraph, we stop. But we can start from last paragraph. Recollect.
Where is that? This is my question.
It's called ignorance.
Huh?
Sixth line.
Which line?
Fifth.
Fifth.
Fifth line.
Okay. Here, what is ignorance? That which perceives these same six elements to be unitary, whole, permanent, constant, eternal, pleasurable, a self, a being, a life force, a creature, a soul, a man, an individual, a human, a person, me or I, and mine, along with the many other such variations of misapprehension, is called ignorance. In other words, ignorance is one which misperceives the self to be, let's say, in the mornings when we do the practice of the four seals, the four seals are to counteract the four misperceptions. What are the four misperceptions? Misperceiving impermanent phenomena to be permanent, number one. Then number two, misperceiving miseries to be happiness. Number three, misperceiving selflessness to be of selfhood. Then number four, okay. Okay, so we have the four misperceptions. One is the impermanent as permanent. This is what is so obvious. that is what creates so much a problem. And then the suffering to be happy, number 2. Number 3, impure to be pure. Then number 4, the selflessness, the a selfless phenomenon to be of selfhood. Selfless to be of selfhood. Okay, these are 4 misperceptions. And then when we view the self, as permanent, is misperception. Actually, it is impermanent. But the view the self to be of happy nature, in actuality, it is under the sway of under the control of this self-grasp, the contaminant karmas and afflictions. It is not at all the happy nature. And the self is impure nature, but we see this as a pure. And the self is the nature of the selflessness. We see this as of the selfhood. So these are 4 misperceptions, and these 4 are known as the ignorance. Called ignorance. The presence of such ignorance brings desire. Okay, from what we learned of the 5 points from the stanza by Arya Nagarjuna, ceasing of karmas and afflictions leads to nirvana. Karma and afflictions arise from inappropriate attention, or the conceptual thought, and the inappropriate attention arises from elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, and the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance ceases through the wisdom of emptiness, through the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, 5 points are there. What are the 5 points? So this is stanza. What are the 5 points indicated there? Number 1, samsara. Immediate cause, contaminant karma is very good. Very good. Gross afflictions. Then inappropriate attention. One is missing. Ignorance. Elaboration, self-grasping ignorance. Okay. 5 points must be on the fingertips. It is 3 days that if it is on the fingertips, it disappears. Then after 3 years, impossible. Okay, tell me, what are the 5 points? Number 1 is samsara. Immediate causes, contaminant karmas. And then afflictions. This is afflictions, gross afflictions. Gross afflictions. Afflictions, inappropriate attention, and elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. These are the 5 points. So now, this is how we go from the top down, suffering to the ultimate cause. Now, if you come from the ultimate cause to the suffering result, ultimate cause is the ignorance, self-grasping ignorance. So what it says here is that the presence of such ignorance brings desire, aversion, and delusion to those objects. So what we did is we did a little more detail than what is taught here. Ignorance gives rise to inappropriate attention. These 2 together gives rise to the afflictions, gross afflictions, attachment, aversion, attachment, desire, aversion, and delusion. Delusion meaning the gross ignorance. When the feeling is pleasant, then the attachment arises. When the feeling is unpleasant, aversion arises. When the feeling is neutral, ignorance continues. Okay, how? When the feeling is neutral, okay, when the feeling is pleasant, then attachment arises, desire arises, that's fine. When the feeling is unpleasant, aversion arises, that's fine. When the feeling is neutral, then delusion meaning ignorance. Ignorance arises how?
It's already there, it is continuous.
How?
Ignorance is there, at the root it's ignorance. So if none of the other arise, this one continues.
Okay, that's good.
I think delusion here refers to inappropriate attention.
No. This delusion is 3 poisons. 3 poisons indicated what we did the wheel of life. Innermost circle, how many creatures are there? 3. What are they? The pig, snake, and the bird. These 3 symbolize the 3 poisons of the mind. What are 3 poisons? 3 afflictions: attachment, aversion, and ignorance. So this delusion is ignorance. And is a matter of English translation. The translators sometimes they delusion. They translate this the ignorance as delusion. And some translators translate delusion for afflictions. So we should be very careful, because English, nobody can standardize English. Because English, now, particularly standardized English pertain to another culture, like Buddhist culture, Hindu culture, Jain culture, which are not the local culture of the Britishers or Americans. So therefore, nobody can standardize the English vocabularies pertain to the Buddhist concepts or the Hindu concepts. No one. Because today the world is a free world. In Tibet, how it was standardized. Of course, Buddhism was not the Tibetan's native the culture, not. But it was standardized. How? Because the kings used the sovereign authority there. Authority to say that, okay, this is word for, say for example, Nyunmon, for glacier. Nyunmon. Henceforth, nobody is allowed to use any other word other than Nyunmon. This is the king decreed that. The king decreed that, so therefore it becomes very standard. And nobody is able, freely to use this word. For example, awakening, the Buddha, omniscient one, and so forth. We say Sangye, that's it. Sangye, Gunken, has this, they mean the same, but there has a little nuance there. Just a little nuance there. So the Tibetan is very standardized, all because of the king used the authority to standardize that. And even the translations. You are not, once a translation is standardized, king says, okay, this is now the formal translation. Nobody else is supposed to come up with another translation. If you really see a problem there, you must be someone who is a renowned scholar. If you are a renowned scholar, you can go to the king or the scholars who are respected by the king. And tell that this is I see that there's a translation error here, so it will be good. Then the king would again convene conference meetings to revise the translation. That's possible. So this is where the delusion, sometimes used for ignorance, sometimes used for afflictions. Okay, so we should be very observant. We should be able to listen to the other person so well. Let's see in what context the person using this word delusion. In the context of three poisons or in the context of afflictions in general. Yes?
Between ignorance and delusion, if you use medical terminology, ignorance would be what Arya Nagarjuna would say is ignorance, a fog-like ignorance. Delusion would be actively misperceiving an object to be, for example, object, delusion. Take something and add something. So that would...
Medically?
Yeah, medically. So I would think of delusion as that part of ignorance. Ignorance being just a still underlying...
The fog. Okay. Jack, how would you understand delusion in the American English? Not that good English. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, in the native, don't mix with the FMT. Come up with your natural take.
Something that's unreal. You perceive something that's not as it is.
Okay, to perceive something not as it is. Okay, good. And then I would say, okay, Singaporean, how would you understand it? Delusion. Singaporean English.
Quite similar to what Jack has mentioned.
What Jack said. Okay. Abanji?
Seeing something and understanding it as something quite different.
Okay. So basically the...
Or seeing something which is not even there.
So basically, language, I mentioned this yesterday. Language, for example, is a delusion. How that is understood in the English. English, there must have been multiple meanings, multiple shades of meanings. Initially I thought that Sanskrit is a very rich language. Of course, very rich. Grammar is very complicated, very rich. Vocabulary is, one word has so many shades of meaning. I thought it was very special. Later on I realized that even the Tibetan word is in every language, the same word is used by a scholar, same word is used by we say on the street, same word is used in the shop, same word. So therefore, they have a slight variation in usage. Then automatically the meanings come in different forms. So this is what is bound to happen. Delusion, likewise, should have multiple meanings. The point is, from what I have, seen of the translations. Some translators use delusion for ignorance, attachment, aversion, and delusion. So how it is translated here. And in many delusions used for afflictions. In Asian first, I translate afflictions as delusions. And then later on I see that anyway my English is not native English, to be very honest. It's through bookish English. So therefore mine is not really standard. Because of which I have to check majority of the translators, what do they use. So this is, for us, the point is that we have to understand it. First, the most important thing is be a good listener, particularly in the context of reading a book or listen to somebody. Listen well, read it well. Don't impose one's own definition of the word, English word, on the meaning which is conveyed here. So see, here in this context, delusion is the ignorance. Here in this context. Okay. So what Dr. Anilji said is very true. See, this ignorance, how this is understood, how that is interpreted by the two brothers, Arya Sangha and Acharya Shantideva. Two of them interpreted the ignorance slightly differently. Arya Sangha interpreted ignorance like the foggy mind, a mind which is foggy, which means that no clarity. And Acharya Vasubandhu, the younger brother, interpreted the ignorance as a deliberate distortion. Okay, skip this word, deliberate. A distortion, active distortion of the reality. Both are correct. Active distortion of the reality. And in fact, both correct, meaning that it happens in both ways. In our mind, we see that both are operating in us. One is our mind is foggy, right? Particularly yesterday when I asked questions to you, answer first is very loud, then the volume went down, which means that the mind is very foggy. These are all the indications of the fogginess of the mind. And then the active distortion of the reality, right? We're expecting things to be objectively real. I was asking questions objectively and you are trying to give the answer objectively. You couldn't give the answer because objectively nothing exists. So we are distorting the reality. Active distortion of reality is one ignorance. Another version is the fogginess of the mind. In other words, fogginess of the mind is the one which is responsible for the active distortion of the reality. So these both are happening within our mind. So then the Arya Sangha, the foggy part, is referred to as the ignorance, and Acharya Vasubandhu, the young brother, the distortion or the active distortion of the object is referred to as the ignorance. Okay. We continue reading this. The presence of such ignorance brings desire. Desire, aversion and delusion towards objects. Which means that from this ignorance, what we have is this desire, aversion, delusion refers to the gross afflictions. Gross afflictions. From this ignorance, then the gross afflictions arise. So what we have is in between the inappropriate attention. Okay, so here the inappropriate attention is not mentioned here. Why do we need to add this? Inappropriate attention. We added this. Ignorance, inappropriate attention, then the affliction, gross affliction, economic karmas. Why do we have to add this inappropriate attention? Between the ignorance, how? Without this, how it cannot directly jump into attachment and aversion? Why not?
That creates the push and pull.
Huh?
That creates the push and pull.
Which that?
Inappropriate.
How? Why not the ignorance directly push and pull? Why not?
Because you like something you want.
Like, not like is the attachment. Attachment, aversion.
Well, something supports you, so you.
No, tell me, why do we need this inappropriate attention?
Something supports your eye, basically. That.
What? Which? The flower. What's wrong with the flower? Flowers there. It's valid.
Self-grasping ignorance itself is not virtuous or non-virtuous.
That's fine. So what's the problem?
It requires an inappropriate addition of inappropriate.
No, why? Why not ignorance and direct to attachment or aversion? Why not? Anybody? Manjuji? No? Still enough? Huh?
Ignorance way to engage.
Ignorance? It requires a medium.
Reason through which there is a medium.
So why do we need this medium? Why not the attachment, aversion, they themselves are the medium, direct medium?
Ignorance is the main root, which has also got even the karmic imprints from the previous births.
No, that's fine. But the question is, why do we need from ignorance? It says ignorance, here refers to desire, aversion, delusion.
Just by seeing something as objectively real, you are not drawn towards it.
Why not?
You may not think anything is good or bad, you may not have any qualities associated. This just is.
No, the flower is nice. This flower is nice. Right? It's nice, automatic attachment, why not?
Ignorance should change it to a personal suffering, it needs an inappropriate attention.
Why?
Say, I see something which is not
Let's say it's a flower.
I see as it is, so I don't engage with it. So
No, you already engaged it. Sweet, the flower is objectively real. You already engaged with it.
don't put an attention to say this is beautiful, this is not beautiful, this is so, this is good for me.
The point is that the flower objective existence, the beautiful flower is a beautiful, right? Beautiful flower, fresh flower.
Don't give that attention.
No. The point is, whether you give attention or not, this is a different point. This flower is beautiful and it is fresh flower. So, objectively fresh flower, attachment directly, why not?
It is a flower.
Yes, it's a beautiful flower.
It's a flower.
It is a fresh flower.
Yes, it's a
Good. So, I want a fresh flower. It doesn't matter beautiful, the fresh flower.
But you're adding something to the object. So when you add something...
No, why? I did not add. It's beautiful. I didn't add it. It's beautiful.
Your interpretation of it is beautiful.
It's fresh.
There are people...
It's fresh. It's fresh.
There are fresher flowers than that. That's
Oh,
not
of course. That's, I admit that. There's some fresher flowers. This is fresher than the rotten ones. Is it true or not?
True.
I didn't add it.
That
You
doesn't
did
mean
because you're doing a
It's
comparison.
going to
No, of
improve
course.
my eye surroundings, and that's why
Say it again.
it's going to improve the surroundings for me. So it's going to do something
Creates a positive feeling in me.
that
Okay.
Positive or negative discrimination.
One question back to the same question. Ignorance, seeing the flowers objectively real, then why don't we go directly to attachment or aversion? Why not? Why do we need the inappropriate attention? Shweta?
Because if it is something that makes this flower attractive to us, the inappropriate attention is the one which makes this flower attractive in our eyes. Or disgusting. Yeah. So without it, if it is not attractive, we don't want it.
No, it's a fresh, right?
Yes.
It's a fresh.
Fresh means attractive. Fresh means nice.
Yeah.
So inappropriate attention makes this flower attractive in our eyes.
So what's the problem? So which means the flower is attractive.
Yes.
So
This is why we want it.
objectively existent attractive flower,
Yes.
I want it. So ignorance directly jumped to attachment.
You added attractive flower.
No, she added it.
No, because ignorance is kind of
The object.
Which means that the Jack is not saying that this is fresh.
No.
Is this fresh or not?
It depends on what we compare it to.
Of course.
All I see is a flower without adding something.
No, is this a fresh flower or not?
It's a flower. It's all
Does it smell?
I can't smell it.
Yes, there's a smell. I can smell it. And it's a fresh flower. It's
No,
just.
your interpretation about this, it may stink when I smell it.
Then, no, Jack, this.
One Jew brought in the other day. I want that better than
Jack,
that one.
this is not the approach. If you say this, then you are going to dismantle the whole functionality of the world. You're going to contradict with the functional world, right? You're going to then say His Holiness the Dalai Lama is teaching there, all the flowers put there. Why are you putting all these stinking flowers there, right? No, they're very fresh ones. This is for you. For somebody else, it may be stinking. No, this is
But as an example,
you cross.
as an example,
The point is this is fresh. We have to accept the reality. This is a fresh flower. It's plucked only today, just this morning. It's a very fresh flower.
you're selling the flower to me, is that what you're trying to do?
No. The point is this is a fresh flower. Fresh flower, Shweta is saying the fresh means its connotation of attractiveness. You getting it? So therefore, objectively existent flesh flower attached directly, what's the problem? Yes, there's a lot.
Two things, it's self-grasping and self-centered attitude. So ignorance is playing grasping part all the time.
Yes.
Inappropriate attention you need in order to activate this self-centered attitude.
Okay, why do we need this? Why do we need the inappropriate attention? This is my question.
That's not really anything. Grasping is there with ignorance, without even attention.
Yeah.
But then, like a suffering on the top of suffering.
Yes.
For more suffering, then you need inappropriate attention. That's why you exaggerate things and make things worse.
Inappropriate attention is where the mind makes a discernment of whether I want that or whether I should run away from that.
Discrimination.
Want, not want is the attachment.
It arises from inappropriate attention.
Why do we need the inappropriate attention? Why not directly the ignorance?
So,
because the attention brings the discernment. Because only when you have attention can you find able to discern.
Yeah, you can
No,
discriminate only when you have the attention.
so ignorance
No, you already said yes, this is beautiful. You already said it.
ignorance is only the objective existence.
Objective existence of the flower.
Yeah, and inappropriate attention is a layer to that.
What layer? What layer is that?
The appearance of objective existence.
No, what layer is added to the objective existence?
Inappropriate attention.
Let's see. The flower, the ignorance brings the flower to objective real. Then inappropriate attention, put another layer. What is that layer added?
Your example is
What layer is added?
The characterization.
something that wasn't there.
The characterization.
What characteristics?
That flower petal is fresh.
That the flower is fresh.
Must
Is
smell
it fresh?
nice. Must smell nice.
Yes, this is fresh actually.
So it's
That is going to help the
Whether
eye
it
or
will-
it's going to be negative for the eye.
Oh, yes, it is helpful to me. Medicine is helpful to me. Right? Dharma is helpful to me. So what's the problem?
That's not a
It's
delusion.
going to boost the eye.
That's not a delusion. That is wisdom. That's convention wisdom. That is medicine will help you.
Okay, that's
The
not
problem
in a,
comes. The problem
okay, meditation.
comes
Meditation.
when you
Meditation,
exaggerate.
objectively real. Objectively real meditation. Oh, objectively real meditation is very helpful to me. Is this inappropriate attention or not?
It is helpful in some respect. It's not without
meditation. Wisdom of emptiness is helpful to me.
It's
amazing, good, amazingly good. Is this inappropriate attention or not?
No.
It's not.
No.
Flower is amazingly good. Is it inappropriate attention or not?
Yes, yes.
Why
flower is not.
Yes.
Flower is not.
With emptiness, with the wisdom of emptiness, it's amazingly good. It's not inappropriate attention. Flower is amazingly good. It's inappropriate attention. Why? Both. Yeah. So Buddhahood is amazingly good. It's inappropriate attention. Don't say this. Kindness is amazingly good. It's not. Don't say this. Don't say that kindness is amazingly good. Huh?
Exaggerates value either to be great or to
this flower is amazingly good as compared to others.
But someone who's allergic to such flower will not think that it's amazing.
Yeah, someone who does not like Buddhism, they will not see it as amazing.
Because of thinking of object is existing independently, because of that inappropriate attention.
Why do we need inappropriate attention? For the attachment and for aversion. Why? So let's say this is the, what you said, seeing the object is objectively, seeing the flower is objectively real, ignorance. Ignorance. Then let's say attachment, aversion. In between inappropriate attention, why do we need that? What is the text here? The text here did not say this.
What I see, it is possible for me to not engage with ignorance by saying, okay, I see flower as impermanent, but I will mentally say, no, it's impermanent. I'll see it's pure, but I'll say it's impure. So it is possible while I'm seeing ignorance, not to engage with it. So I need inappropriate attention in order to fully do it, to get into the trap of it.
What is that inappropriate attention?
That is putting your mind on a quality which it doesn't exist, either imputing something which doesn't exist from one side.
Like this flower is chocolate?
Yes.
Okay. So the
How do you compare the negative phenomenon you're talking about inappropriate attention, which doesn't come to us naturally? Is that what you're trying to decide?
okay, inappropriate attention never comes naturally. We are so expert in it, don't know what I mean. We are all so expert. 24/7 inappropriate attention is coming. Even dreams. Smitaji, you are saying something.
The feeling arises because of the inappropriate attention, which will allow us to discriminate.
Okay, now let's say the flower is objectively real, ignorance. Then the inappropriate attention. Then you see the feeling arises from this inappropriate attention. Then the attachment arises. Is what I'm saying? Okay, what Smitaji is saying is quite interesting. Say ignorance, inappropriate attention, then the feelings, then the attachment. Is what he's saying? Or say the ignorance, inappropriate attention, alongside the inappropriate attention, feeling is there, then the attachment aversion arises. Is what he's saying?
Then the discrimination, which is wrong discrimination.
Discrimination is there. This flower, this is a flower, this object is a flower, this is discrimination. Discrimination may not necessarily be valid discrimination. It can be distorted discrimination also.
But the discrimination, if it will make me happy or sad, that's discrimination, right? And what's the feeling it allows us in?
Okay, which comes first? Discrimination or the feeling?
Feeling.
Huh? Oh. Oh, this is the cheese chocolate, cheesecake, right? Oh, this cheesecake. Then the pleasant feeling comes to you, right? Okay. So, okay, you're right. It is not that. I told you last time that these five, I explained this as though like they are in sequence. In actuality, they are not sequence. They are simultaneous, right? Okay. Now, still, I did not get the satisfactory answer.
So is it inappropriate attention is to objectify whether the object is attractive or not attractive?
Yes, yes. So why do we need that? Why do we need, okay, say the mind to see the object is attractive or not attractive, that is the inappropriate attention. Why do we need that in between the ignorance
see
and
the
the...
thing as objectively attractive or objectively
okay, see the things as objectively attractive or objectively non-attractive. That is the inappropriate attention. That is required as a link between the ignorance, original ignorance, and the attachment. Okay, I agree with you. Why do you need that? I agree with you. This is what is required. See, this flower is objectively real. Right? Then in between, oh, this is objectively attractive or objectively unattractive, then the attachment or aversion.
Then maybe because for somebody who has seen directly seen emptiness, when they come out from their meditative exercise, then they no longer arise inappropriate attention. So even though they see things as objectively real, but there's no inappropriate attention.
Okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. Okay, so what Venerable is saying that, when you see emptiness directly in the meditative poise, you come out of that, and then again you see the flower, you see the flower appears to objectively real, but the inappropriate attention will not arise. Answer is, yes, it does arise. It does not arise as intense as how it arises in us. It does arise. It does not arise when you reach the 8th bhumi. When you reach the 8th bhumi, then it does not arise. Then inappropriate attention does not arise. Yes, Jack?
When feeling arises, it is plus, negative, or neutral. And if it's a neutral feeling, then inappropriate attention does not arise. If it is a negative, then inappropriate attention arises that will lead to aversion. If it is a positive, it is inappropriate attention that leads to craving, grasping, whatever. So with a neutral feeling, then it doesn't lead to attachment or aversion.
So what is my question?
You asked why did we need it to move?
Need what?
Need inappropriate attention.
Attention for what?
To be attached to something.
Yes, to attach or to feel averse.
Right. So
the point is, why not the ignorance directly gives us to attachment or aversion without the inappropriate attention?
Because it's a neutral feeling.
Huh?
In feeling,
we exaggerate the qualities of the object by giving the attention.
Say it again.
We exaggerate the qualities.
Without one exaggerates the quality of object, then the attachment or aversion cannot arise. You want to say, so the first initial ignorance does not exaggerate the quality. It only exaggerates the object. It does not exaggerate the quality. Only when the qualities are exaggerated, then the attachment or aversion arises. Thank you. So, inappropriate attention is the one which exaggerates the qualities of the object. Exaggerate the quality of the flower, and what Jack is saying is that flower, oh, this flower is objectively real. For example, say the Shabiraji likes flowers, is so fond of flower, and say I don't love flower at all. And then for Shantila, neutral. Okay, let's Jack, neutral. So, three of us were looking at it. We have no realized emptiness. We look at it, and if somebody asks you, is this the objective flower? All the three of us would say yes. So seeing the flowers objectively real does not guarantee that attachment and aversion arises. This is the initial ignorance. Then on top of that, then the Shabir, because she is so fond of flowers, she, wow, so beautiful. I don't like flowers. Again another flower there in his hand. Right? Why he's so fond of flowers? Why he's bringing up flowers all the time? Whereas Jan, okay, it's fine, so, no problem. So which means Shabira exaggerated the quality of the flower. I also exaggerate the quality of the flower. Shabira exaggerated the flower as very nice. I exaggerate the flower as not nice. And then for Jag, I guess also is fine. So there, for Shabira, attachment arises. For me, aversion arises. For Jag, is neutral. Without wisdom and emptiness, then the ignorance continues. Right? So there, why attachment aversion arises? Because of the exaggeration of the quality of the object. Okay, good. Yes.
I guess inappropriate attention then part of the affliction itself, because in the definition of afflictions, we say that it exaggerates the quality.
Yes, okay. This is again the Arjunaji is bringing up a very complicated question. The question is, inappropriate attention, is this a part of the affliction? What's the answer?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Then it is not a part of the affliction, is number 3. Inappropriate attention number 2. Huh? Okay. Number 3, affliction. This is not affliction in general, it's a gross affliction. Whereas number 1, number 2, both are afflictions. What we count is a number 3 affliction, separated as number 3. That is the gross affliction, not affliction in general. So number 1 and number 2, number 3, all are afflictions. Then why affliction is counted as separate, number 3? That is to refer to the gross afflictions. Very good, thank you. Okay, we'll continue reading this. And then what Tenzin said, okay, the Tenzin has many names. Tenzin, Sepella, and Sepel, yes, Chetella, Sepella, and Tenzin. Okay, what Tenzin said is, see, then the question arises, how does this exaggeration of the quality, inappropriate attention, how does it arise? Okay, any clue? Anyone? How does this exaggeration of the qualities arise? In other words, how does the inappropriate attention arise? How does it arise?
Through feeling.
Through feeling. How?
So it triggers when you see something, you get a feeling because of the karmic imprints. When you see something as objectively real, and then when the pleasant feeling arises, you want more of it, and so attachment arises. And if
so how does this feeling arise?
And the feeling, you see it as objectively real. You don't see the feeling as...
how does this pleasant feeling arise?
From memory of
Past experience.
Memory of past experience.
No, it's karmic. It's because of karma.
Karmic or the past. In other words, past or karmic is what you say. In case if, for me, again he's become a flower. What flower? Is this aversion? So I have no karmic, karmic attachment to the pleasant feeling for the flower. No? Which I never experienced the flower to be pleasant in my past lives.
No, actually, it has to do with discrimination.
Say it again.
The moment the mind starts discriminating,
yes,
it is only then that a small feeling would start arising.
No, what I'm saying is, oh, this particular, I don't like the pink color. Right? I don't like the pink color.
It's a result of negative karma that you get a negative feeling.
I see.
And result of positive karma, you get a pleasant feeling.
Okay, so the afflictions are so bad. Negative feeling towards afflictions. This is because negative karma.
The feeling is a result of karma only, your past intention.
Oh, afflictions are so bad. Seeing the afflictions is bad, is it virtuous, non-virtuous? Seeing the non-virtuous as virtue, seeing the non-virtuous as good is non-virtue. Seeing the non-virtue as bad is virtue. Right? Oh, the affliction is so bad. Unpleasant feeling comes to you. Is it because of karma? Negative karma?
It's still objectively, it's not bad in and of itself. It's bad because it gives a negative result. So you think you develop a kind
okay,
of...
you can see the affliction is negative, but the unpleasant should not come. If it comes, that unpleasant feeling, no doubt, is because of the... Buddha sees the afflictions as negative. but Buddha does not feel the unpleasant feeling. Right? Unpleasant feeling is the result of negative karma. Yeah, that what Shantideva said is correct. Okay, still my question is not answered. My question is how the inappropriate attention arises. So why that is required is already answered. Why we need the inappropriate attention to give rise to attachment aversion? Because unless we exaggerate the quality, attachment aversion will not arise. So therefore, exaggerating the quality of the object is referred to as the inappropriate attention. That's answered. My next question, how does the inappropriate attention arise? How does it arise? That's my question. On the life.
Memory of previous contact with the object, similar
The
object.
memory of?
Previous contact with a similar object and the experience of that.
Okay, the present experience, let's say. Memory of the experience of the contact with the previous contact with the object and activation of the pleasant feeling, the past. Or which means if I have unpleasant feeling, which means that the memory is not coming. I do not have the memory.
No, the last memory overrides. So what was the last memory? For example, in the previous life I might not have liked flower. In this life, if I had contact with the flower and I had a pleasant experience.
This is contradiction, right? In this life, you first come in contact with the flower. That feeling, pleasant, unpleasant feeling is determined in past life, right?
No.
According to you. First experience. Pleasant feeling, unpleasant, determined in past life. Then, all the way down, it should be pleasant feeling all the time. You should not be having any unpleasant feeling.
In this life, the first experience might have been neutral at first.
Well, can't be, because the memory of that will be activated.
No, so
that memory was the pleasant memory. Okay, how? Look, how? Okay, now to make it very quick, it can be for multiple reasons. One from the past life. In the mornings what we are doing is to feel the joy over thinking about bodhicitta. It's deliberately trying to create the imprint of the pleasant feeling with the bodhicitta. So next lives, when you hear the word bodhicitta, you just feel connected. A pleasant feelings retreat. Right? This is one factor. Another one is within this life. Say, I pick up the flower. Okay, I pick up the flower. Wow, it's so good, right? It's so good. Okay. When I was very young, I think age 5 or 6, I remember that. When I was age 5 or 6, I was hospitalized in school. I was hospitalized. And then coming back, I was discharged from the hospital. Then going back home, in the home, the school provided new towels for all the students. And I just entered the dormitory, and nobody was there all through the school. And then I saw new towels. And new towels, they were pink in color. The moment I saw the pink, it activated a very pleasant feeling. So now I think that, okay, don't tell me that I'm sexist. Right? When that feeling, when I saw the pink, it triggered a very pleasant feeling in me. So today, that time I didn't know clue, I was just age 5 or 6. Now today, looking back in time, I thought that maybe Pastor, I was a girl. Yeah, so full of pink colors. Right? And then, I started to like the pink colors. And then a boy comes, right? A naughty boy comes. What are you, a girl? You're pink. Then I started to change my imprint. You getting it? So my past print was, pink color is so pleasant. Then somebody comes, what are you doing? Always pink. What is pink, right? He says like this. Right? Then I'm putting a new imprint. Pink is something which is not good. Pink is something which is not good. Because of Ratnala's input in me. Now my imprint is changing. Then later on, it's reversed to an extent that I say pink, I'm a little scared. Right? Unpleasant feelings come to me. There are many factors. many factors. One is the past imprints, and within this life, it can be, this life also can be influenced in creating new imprints. Okay. So therefore, the point is that finally our job is, we can learn all these things. Nalanda Sutra, dependent origination, emptiness, impermanence, we can learn all these things. Meanwhile, we operate in this universe, and the whole universe is operated by the law of cause and effect. Cause and effect. This is what governs the whole universe. This is the reality. So with this, finally, within this flux of the cause and effect, we have to grow. We have to grow. We have to grow from very afflictive, very basic, very coarse person to a more and more refined person. This is how we have to grow. Within this flux of the cause and effect, we have to grow. How to grow? Grow by means of the five omnipresent mental factors. By thinking about these 5 omnipresent mental factors. Say, first one is the contact, attention, that's fine. Then the next, number 3 is very important, discrimination. Discrimination, try to have a very holistic discrimination and a profound discrimination. Holistic, vast, and a profound. Vast discrimination of the reality, which means to have a vast exposure of the reality, to have as vast knowledge, then to have a profound knowledge, vast and profound. So these 2 knowledge will guarantee the feeling is pleasant within you. A very profound feeling will come to you. With a profound feeling, your action is going to be very profound. Your action is going to be very profound. For all these negative actions, they are driven by negative thoughts. Negative thoughts, they are driven by the ignorance. And ignorance does not see the reality. So therefore, the discrimination, to have the correct discrimination is the wisdom. So the vast and the profound wisdom is very important to counteract the ignorance. Because of which all the destructive thought process will be removed and all our actions are going to be very virtuous. So this is how we have to flow, how we have to keep on growing. This is very important. Okay. We continue reading this. The presence of such ignorance brings desire, aversion and delusion to those objects. Such desire, aversion and delusion to those objects are the formations caused by ignorance. Okay. This is very important. This is very important for us. So we should have a very broad perspective of the reading of the text. Of the 12 links, what is the second link? Contaminant karma. In this text, the translators, formation, and this translation is not wrong. This translation is not wrong because the Tibetan version is ignorance is maripa. Number 2 is duje. Duje is the formation or the composition or compounded. Duje. Okay, which means that formation, English we have to check it. This word, the formation, forming, this is there. Duje. Karma is the one which forms your next birth. Karma is the one which creates, which forms, which dictates, which decides your next birth, which forms your next birth. So it's known as formation. The karma is given the label, the formation. Okay. So it says that it's now the Arya Maitreya is explaining the ignorance explained. Next link is formation. So formation, what we are talking about is only the contaminant karmas. We are talking about the contaminant karmas. From the 5 points which we learned from Arya Nagarjuna's text, contaminant karmas comes which point?
Second.
Number 2. Second. 2. And the afflictions come under number 3. But here it says, such desire, aversion, delusion towards objects are the formations. Formations mean number 2. You're getting it? Formation number 2. The formations caused by ignorance. Ignorance is number 1. Number 2 is formation. What comes under formation? The text says such desire, aversion, delusion. These 3 come under affliction. You getting it? Okay. From this, what we get, what we understand, what we learn from this is that of the 12 links, first link, okay, 12 links on the one hand. On the other hand, the 5 points. Which 5 points? Samsara, contaminant karmas, affliction, inevitable attention. Okay, elaboration, self-grasping ignorance. Fine. These 5 points, and on the other hand, we have the 12 links. Of the 12 links now, Arya Nagarjuna is bringing these 2 together, correlating these 2 sets. Of the 12 links, the Arya Nagarjuna is talking about the formation, which is the link number 2. Link number 2, which we always talk about the contaminant karmas. Whereas Arya Nagarjuna here is explaining that under this formation, desire, aversion, ignorance, they all fall under this formation. You getting it? So with respect to us, how we understand the 5 points, these 3 fall under the attachment, aversion and ignorance. These 3 of the 5 points, these 2 fall under which? Affliction, not the karma. Whereas for us, formation here, this formation link number 2, we put only the karma there. You're getting it? Now from studying this, we get a broader picture. Don't say that, okay, this is wrong, or what we learned is wrong. No, simply broaden our understanding and we are getting into the nuances now. So from this what we learn is that link 1 is pure ignorance. Link 1 is pure ignorance. Then from the 5 points, point number, okay, from bottom up, which is ignorance to the suffering. Point number 1 is ignorance. Point number 2 is?
Inappropriate.
Okay, point number 1, ignorance, is the 12 link number 1. And then from the 5 points, number 2, 3, number 2 and 3. What is number 2? Inappropriate attention. Number 3 is afflictions. These two plus number 3, contaminant karmas. All these 3 are put under the formation. Formation means link number 2. You getting it? Link number 2. If you go to the very standard monasteries, you meet with the Geshes, generally they will say link number 2 is the contaminant karmas. They will say this. Now we have seen this text, which is a very standard text here, so you can confidently tell them that under the link number 2, it is not only the karma, even the afflictions also go there. Not all afflictions. Which affliction doesn't go there?
Negative.
Do you follow this? Of the 12 links, in the link number 2, which is link number 2?
Except ignorance.
What is link number 2? Okay, from what we learned here is the formation. Under this link number 2 formation, what falls under that?
Inappropriate attention, gross affliction.
Inappropriate attention, gross affliction, and the contaminant comes. All 3 go in there. All 3 go in there. Except for which affliction?
Self-grasping.
Self-grasping ignorance. Self-grasping ignorance is precisely the first link. Okay, this is what we need to know. And then later on, if you come to discuss more on the 12 links dependent origination.
But we also have craving, grasping.
Say it again.
We have craving and grasping separately in the 12 links.
That's true. So now the next, yes, very good. Okay, so now Arjuna is bringing up more complications, saying that attachment, aversion, if you put under this second formation, attachment is already there as a number 8, number 9. These are also attachment. You're getting it? Okay, now it becomes more complicated.
Vishnu, can you please repeat? It also includes inappropriate.
Which one? Okay, second Ling formation. It includes inappropriate attention, gross afflictions, and untimely karmas, all three. So this is standard, don't worry. This is very standard. And if you discuss with other teachers or the other scholars, if they say no, afflictions don't go in the second, you show this text. Don't say that Geshe Dorji Damdul said it. If you say Geshe Dorji Damdul said it, then they say, okay, he doesn't know. Right? Just say that this is in the text. In this Nalanda Sutra.
Except for ignorance.
Except for the self-grasping ignorance.
Ignorance is different from self-grasping.
No, the ignorance is the big umbrella under which self-grasping ignorance is one of them.
There are other ignorances also?
Many, the ignorance may be permanent, impermanence, permanent is also ignorance. Right? Ignorance not knowing which door to go. Right? If you think that this is a door, we jump, we die, this is also ignorance. Right? Ignorance, there are so many gross dreams. And some ignorance is very interesting. One time, I had a very wonderful interaction with the Malaysian Muslim scholars. And then it was like historic. So I sent the pictures to many of my friends. I said very clearly, this is the meeting with the Islamic scholars from Malaysia, in Malaysia written. And look, I received the response saying that, Geshe, this picture is so nice, where is this? No, they did not even look at it. They didn't even read it. They didn't even read it, just saying, where is this Geshe? It's so nice. And then these people, they go to receive the highest yoga tantra empowerments. Right, meant for the very intelligent people. There's most people, this is their level of intelligence, and there is the highest yoga tantra empowerment. Yeah. Okay, ignorance, there are so many kinds. Not knowing what this picture is, one originally is Malaysia. There's also another level of ignorance. There are so many levels of ignorance. Okay. Aversion, delusion towards objects are the formations caused by ignorance. Then the Acharya's question. If the attachment aversion, if you put under the formation, then they're already there as separate, which is under number 8 and number 9. This is also attachment. So, how do you resolve this? Anybody?
It's a special kind of craving and grasping, which only arises at time of death.
Then what about this attachment, that we put under formation?
That happens all the time, all through the life.
Okay, that's interesting. So, attachment aversion, which is exceptionally, specifically to germinate the karma already activated, already planted, and to be transformed into becoming. Number 10, that attachment is number 8 and number 9, whereas the attachment which falls under the link number 2, formation, that is the attachment which normally arises in us. Is what you're saying?
Those are cross level, these are the subtle levels.
Say it again.
Link number 2.
Link number 2 attachment is the cross one, and the number 8 and 9, a subtler or the very intense version. Intense, not only intense to activate the preparing you to the next life. Preparing you to the next life, to germinate the seed of the karma of the number 2. Number 2, to germinate that.
Are they the same karmas, but timing is the difference?
Yes. So the karma, number 2 is the karma. Then number 10 is the karma germinated version of the number 2 is number 10.
So 8 and 9 is the same as 2. It just happens the timing of it is...
Okay, now the question is 8 and 9. Are they number 2 or not? This is the question. 8 and 9 is 8 and 9. Can they be a common locus point between what is number 8 as well as number 2? Number 2 means attachment as a part of formation, and as the same attachment can also be the number 8, craving. This is also a question. This is a very good discussion.
Does that relate to the projecting karma and this?
Which one?
Always 8 and
8 and 9 is not at all karma. Not karma.
It's not karma, but it's...
Number 10. 8 and 9 acting upon number 2 to make it number 10. When that number 2 and number 10, this is the projecting karma.
It's working on maturing the projecting karma.
Only the mature projecting karma, yes. Number 8 and number...
It can create projecting karma, right? Attachment.
Okay, first let's finish with this. What Acharya is saying is that number 8 and number 9, these two are acting to mature, to germinate, to mature the projecting karma to throw you to the next life. Answer is 100% correct. Now the Shantideva is bringing up another point, that these two karmas in the process, these two links, number 8 and number 9, in the process they can be creating new karmas also, new projected karmas. Is this what Shantideva is saying?
Yes.
Okay, this is another very good discussion. Yes, it does happen. It does happen. And then, so therefore, now that we already learned about isolates, same entity, different isolates, the same object can have multiple isolates. Likewise, say the attachment aversion has the isolate to be a part of number 2. Number 2 meaning attachment aversion giving rise to the contaminant karmas. That is from that isolate is number 2. Now this attachment, this same attachment can be meanwhile germinating the karmas, projected karmas to throw you to the next life. From this point of view, this attachment is number 8, number 9. So it has multiple isolates. Isolate of being number 2, isolate of being number 8. This is very possible.
So the 2, when they are 2, you don't have that much control over it because that's causing the consciousness to that.
Yes, so the formation number 2 with this.
We don't have that much, we don't have control, it's only caused the consciousness of this lifetime.
So then it gives rise to number 3.
But 8 and 9, we definitely have the opportunity to try and not, when the contact comes and the feelings come and then the grasping and craving comes, we definitely have some control over it to not allow that to happen.
Why we have no control over number 2 attachment?
Because it's in this, if you take it as this lifetime, 1, 2, 3 already there.
No.
So the consciousness is already formed.
Okay, so let's say the number 2 of which? Number 2 of this body, or number 2 can be of this body, number 2 to be created newly.
Of this body, 2.
Of this body.
This lifetime, 2. That's already in the process, 1, 2 and 3.
So this body we are going through which number?
We have 1, 2, 3, 8.
No, what I'm saying is this body is part of which? This body is not 1, 2, 3. This body, which of the 12 things this body is related? Number 4 is the mother's womb. Number 7, yes. Number 7 and number 12, aging and death. This body is going through aging and death, and this good body is the time when experiencing the feelings. You're getting it? This way we're going through. So this body is also part of the 12 links. So number 7. If it's number 7, then it should be preceded by number 2. It should be preceded by number 2 because 12 links, they should be, all the 12. So number 2, where was this number 2? Where was this number 2?
Consciousness. In the current consciousness.
No, this body is the result. Is the result of the number 2. Where was the number 2? Where?
Prior life?
Which time? Yes.
Okay,
so this is the result state.
So this is the result of 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, this body is
so 1, 2, and 3 are past life.
Yes. So this is the resultant state. So this body, this body is the resultant state. There are 6 causes, 6 results. So this body is a part of the result. Result means 6 causes preceded. When did these 6 causes precede? They preceded in the past lives. 3 producers. 3 producers, they happen just immediate past life. And the projector, how many projectors? 3 projectors and 3 producers. What are the 3 producers? What are the 3 producers? 8, 9, 10, very good. 8, 9, 10 of this body. 8, 9, 10 related to this body preceded just immediate life. Producer, produced. Produce and produce, there is no gap of another life. Whereas projector and the projected, they can be gaps. They can be gaps. Right? Okay. So what are the projector? What are the projector limbs? 1, 2, 3. So this for this body, 1, 2, 3 happened when? Maybe very immediate previous life or the many previous lives. That we are not too sure. But it preceded. So 6 causes.
It can even be in this life, right?
Sorry?
You create a very powerful...
This body. For this body, no. For this body, the 12 links related to this body. 12 links related to this body, the 6 causes already precede in the former lives.
Are we not in this life, this body, comes from past life 1, 2, 3?
Our past life?
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
But now I'm 7, and I'm making a new set of 1, 2, 3.
A new set of 1, 2, 3, yes.
Okay. So we are constantly ignorance, contaminated karma, and consciousness, but what I make right now is the futuristic.
Exactly. So the 1, 2, 3 that we are creating now, so this is for the future. This is for the future, yes. But this body, 1, 2, 3 of this body from the past. 1, 2, 3 that we are newly created now is not of this body. So the effect of this 1, 2, 3 will be felt in the next lives.
It couldn't be affected in our life 2 years from now?
How many years from now?
It
is very life. It is very life. 12 links, no. 1, 2, 3. So that if you could remember the 12 links, how long will it take to complete?
2 or 3 years.
How long will it take to complete one complete cycle, one complete wheel? 12 links. Answer is minimum 2 lives required, not 2 lifetimes. 2 lifetimes and 2 life requirements is different, right? I need 2 lives. I need 2 lifetimes. 2 lifetimes meaning, okay, next life, next life. 2 lives. 2 lifetimes. 2 lives means next life, maybe 1,000 lives later, another life. 2. You getting it? So minimum it requires 2 lifetimes. Maximum it requires 3 lifetimes. 3 lifetimes doesn't mean that you 1, 2, 3 finish. No. 1, 2. Okay. 1, and then 1 and 2. 1 and 2, there may be many lifetimes in between. Separated by the first life, second life, third life, first life and second life, there can be many lifetimes in between. We're talking about many lifetimes in between. Yes.
But according to science, all our body cells are replaced periodically every couple of years. So our body is a result of what we are doing in this life.
Okay. So Arjuna ji is putting me to many complications. Thank you.
So it also describes.
So did you? Okay, let's listen to what Arjuna ji is saying. So what we are saying is this body is because of 1, 2, 3 of the past lives. But the Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory and today's neuroscientists, they are saying that this body is not necessarily because of the past, it's because of this what we eat, environment, these things they affect us. This is what I say. Very good. Very good. Okay, so what we eat and so forth, then our body will become the divine body. No, it remains a human body, right? Within the human body, what we eat, you get good food, again it's because of karma. You don't get good food, again it's because of karma. You're a billionaire, suddenly you're trapped in a aeroplane crash, and you are left alone in the forest, you have billions of dollars in the bank, money doesn't work because of karma. The fact that you have money there is also because of karma. The fact that money doesn't work is also because of karma. Everything is operating there. Yet, saying, the building, I give you a house, a new flat. New flat means just a skeleton, the flat. And the interior you have to do it, right? You cannot change the building. The building is the same. Building is given by 1 to 3. Interior, you can do it yourself. Projecting karma is created by 1 to 3. Projecting karma. Completing karma, there are secondary workers there. Yeah.
So when you talk about many lifetimes in between,
yes.
are we talking about the life that we were as a human in a human body, and what are these many lifetimes in between?
Okay. So let's say that we accumulate so the study of this, then when I said that the seed does not think that I have produced the shoot. Shoot does not think that the seed has produced me. So when you say, wow, that's very true. It's also funny, it's also very true. That's amazing. When you say it's amazing, your mind is hit with the discovery of the power of dependent origination. It's simply true, dependent origination, that things are produced. There's nothing like agent controlling it. It's just the dependent origination. So there, your virtue, tremendous virtue is activated within you. So there's incredible positive karma accumulated. With this, then let's say, this karma to take birth in the, let's say, in the Bodhicaryavatara's Pure Land, somewhere, right? Okay. And then in between, somehow you have so much mental disturbance. In between, after the studies, after the retreat, so much mental disturbance, and this, sometimes you become so angry in negative karmas. And because of which, so 1 to 3 of the virtue karma already accumulated, already done in this life. Not only in this life, just within this retreat. 1 to 3 has happened of the virtue. So this 1 to 3 will remain as number 3, right? And if this number 3, and number 3 because of the anger and so forth later on, or some other virtues later on, if that supersedes this 1 to 3, then that will take over the next life. Whatever next life. So this birth, this karma will take you to the Pure Land of the Bodhisattva. Whereas the other karmas you accumulate in between may take you birth to human realm, or the Holy Ghost realm, or Deva realm, wherever, for 500 lifetimes, 1000 lifetimes. Then at a certain point, then this karma that you have accumulated today in this retreat, at one point that happened to be the most powerful. Then this will, after 1000 lifetimes, or after 1500 lifetimes, Then when this becomes the most powerful one, this will then take you to the last life, before you go to the Buddha Shakyamuni's Pure Land. So there, then the 8, 9, 10 is activated. Then the very next life, then the 11, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 12 will take place. So 3 lifetimes. But in between, many lifetimes can interrupt that. Those many lifetimes can be any. Good lives, favorable, unfavorable, can be any. Are you good? Good? Okay, continue reading this. Page 69, last paragraph in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Line 8. That which distinguishes between individual objects is consciousness. Okay, now ignorance is done. Link 2, formation is done. Link 3, consciousness. What is consciousness? What is consciousness? Consciousness in general. Consciousness is the mind which distinguishes between individual things. Okay, this is mug. This is not mug. The mirror, in the mirror reflection happens. Very clear reflections happen, but the mirror cannot distinguish that, oh, now the reflection of a tree is happening. Now the reflection of the Sandhiji is happening. This mirror does not have that ability to distinguish things. But a consciousness, which is the storehouse of all these quantum karmas, or the karmas, this consciousness has that ability. Reflection is formed and it has the capacity, ability to distinguish things. What is what? Individual things. Like, oh, this is cup, this house, we are in the class. Yes, Raviji?
So the consciousness, it does that along with the discrimination?
Say it again.
When the consciousness would see a cup and say that this is a cup.
Yes.
The consciousness, it comes along with the discrimination and then it decides, or does consciousness decide on its own?
Okay, so let's say the consciousness, now that we already introduced you to the entities and the isolates, although there are debates, but for our understanding, the best would be consciousness. It is like the, say, Raviji. Raviji goes to school A, you teach English. You go to afternoon, you go to school B, you teach sports. When you go to school A, all the students will say, our English teacher came. And the same Raviji go to school B, they will say that our sports teacher came. Oh no, he's the English teacher. No, he's a sports teacher. It's the same person with two different isolates. You get it? Likewise, it's the same mind, and then it has many functions. Same mind has many functions like the sports, English, Hindi, Marathi, and so forth. It has so many functions. The mind has so many functions. One of which is to distinguish things. This is this. And then if you are intoxicated, you may say that, are you Geshe Dorji? Alright? Discrimination is distorted. Alright? So discrimination doesn't mean that it should be valid all the time. It can be invalid also. It can be valid, it can be invalid. Discrimination is one of the functions of the mind. So these two are simultaneous. In other words, the same mind, same entity, different isolates. Okay. That which distinguishes between individual objects is consciousness. The four aggregates. What is after consciousness? Name and form. Label and form. Label and form. Ling number? 4. Ling number 4. So then the Ling number 4, name and form. What is name? What is form? Tell me, what is form? What is form? The body. Very good. What is the name? The remaining 4 aggregates. In simple terms, mind, but to go in a little more detail, the remaining 4 aggregates. Aggregate of consciousness, aggregate of feeling, discrimination, opposite factors, and consciousness. These four remaining mental factors, aggregates are referred to as the name. Okay, let's see. The 4 aggregates for appropriation. Appropriation meaning that, okay, appropriate means to possess. Appropriate means to possess. okay, this is my body. When I say this is my body, I appropriate my body. This is my feeling. This is my discrimination. This is my composite factors. This is my consciousness. So I appropriate the four aggregates. I appropriate the aggregate form, and I also appropriate the remaining four aggregates. The four aggregates for appropriation that emerge in conjunction with consciousness. Okay, the four aggregates for appropriation that emerge in conjunction with consciousness, along with the aggregates of material form, are name and form. Okay, the four aggregates for appropriation that emerge in conjunction. Four aggregates. Say, what are the four aggregates? Aggregate of form, feeling, discrimination, and composite factor. Okay, this one thing. Let's say this is the. Okay, so there is this. You see the one in bracket. What is in the bracket is added by the translator. What is put in the bracket is added by the translator. Okay, so we can interpret. Let's try to interpret without the what is in the bracket. Okay, the four aggregates for appropriation that emerge in conjunction with consciousness. The idea is we're talking about five aggregates. Of five aggregates, aggregate of form is the form. Remaining four is the label or the name. This is the idea. If you know this, you have understood this line. But to go into word to word, the four aggregates, let's say, the four aggregates for appropriation that emerge in conjunction with the consciousness. If you read it very literally, consciousness, conjunction with the consciousness. What appropriates these four aggregates? What appropriates these four aggregates? Your mind, your consciousness. Your consciousness is the one of the aggregates. So remaining four comes there. So in this, then the form, feeling, discrimination, composite factors, all four are there. And what appropriates these four is the consciousness. So this is how it operates. So if we skip this, what is in the bracket? What is in the bracket is added by the translator. So what we have to know is, keep this in mind, what we have to know, name and form. What you are is name and form. What you are is name and form. What you are is five aggregates. Of the five aggregates, you have the physical form. That is the form of the name and form. And remaining four aggregates is the name. Finish. If you understand this, you understood this. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to literally explain this.
Appropriate literally means to possess.
Say again.
Appropriate means to possess.
Possess. Yes, this is what I'm saying.
So it's like saying consciousness possesses.
Okay, let's say, Arjuna ji, do you say that this is my body? Do you say it? No, do you say this? This is my body? And then tell me who's saying this, your mind or your body is saying this? We say that, okay, what am I doing? I'm patting. But I say it's just my hand which is doing it. My hand does it and then I call that I'm doing it. Right? This hand is not me. Likewise, my mind is thinking. But I say that I'm thinking. My mind is not me. Also five aggregates, which is thinking? Which does the appropriation? This is my body. Who is thinking? My mind is thinking. So that is the aggregate of the consciousness. Right? Consciousness, which is the one which appropriates the remaining four aggregates. Not only the four, even the fifth, consciousness itself. So put it in a proper language, we say consciousness appropriates the four. Explicitly four, implicitly consciousness appropriates all five. My consciousness. When I say my consciousness, who is saying this? My mind is saying this. My mind is saying this. So my mind my mind has a sense of possession of the five aggregates, not only four or the five. But to put it in a nice way, mental consciousness is presented there, and then it possesses the remaining 4. Total there are 5 feeling gates. Okay. So the translator thinks that material form is missing because 4 aggregates generally form versus the 4 aggregates in the context of the 5. If you put it like this,
it's wrong.
Then, okay, let us not say it's wrong. The translator did a great job. In fact, what I was trying to do was first try to read it, then try to understand it. Once you understand the meaning, then try to put it there with the literal words. Try to keep the literal words as literal as possible. Not try to interpret too much.
Without the bracket, I don't think the sentence would be correct. It would make sense.
No, the same.
Because the four aggregates for appropriation that emerge in conjunction with the consciousness are name and form.
Yes.
Well, are named, but they are not form.
This is what I'm saying. In the 4, how you understand 4 and how I understand 4 is different. How you are?
The 4 are all consciousnesses, are they not?
Which 4?
The 4 that he's referencing here.
No, what 4? What are the 4? Huh? You tell me what these 4 are. Feeling, discrimination, competent factors. Okay, this is how Jack is reading and how Smitaji is reading, right? So how I read is that the 4 consciousness, keep it aside. Every consciousness aside. Every consciousness, keep it aside, because it says the 4 aggregates for appropriation that emerge in conjunction with consciousness. Conjunction with consciousness separately cited. So the 4 means form, feeling, discrimination, competent factors, 4. So form is included there. So these five that we have is the name and form. And if you want to go into detail, which of the 5 is form, which amongst the 5 is the form, which amongst the 5 is the label of the name, then I'll say the form is the form of the name and form. Remaining 4 is the remaining 4 within the 5 is the form. Name.
The old translation is very clear. It just says the 4 aggregates that rise up together with the consciousness are named.
Okay. Most likely, the first translator did not really take the responsibility. No, didn't take the responsibility, just translated. Did not think about the debates.
When you asked which link has a body, and I said 4, when you said it was incorrect.
Say again.
When you asked which
there are so many 4s.
In the links.
In the links there is no 4. Okay, in the links there is
4.
Okay.
When you asked which link has the body in it.
No, not the body, this body.
Yeah, this body.
This body means the 50 years old body.
Yeah.
Name and form body is a very young body. It's not 50 years old body. Name and form body is the body in the mother's womb. It's very young. This body is not young. It's old. It's 50 years old.
So all these aggregates and body and all that is in the mother's womb.
So in the context of the link number 4,
yes,
that is in the mother's womb. Link number 4 is pure in the mother. Link number. Let's say 4. Okay, let's say beginning that's strong. Link number 11 is purely in the mother's womb. Link number 11. We in the mother's womb start from link number 11. Link number 11 is purely in the mother's womb. Link number 4. Then from 11 we jump to 4. 4 is purely in mother's womb. 5 purely in mother's womb. 6. What is 6? 5?
6 senses.
Oh wow. Okay. 5 the 6 senses. So the link number 4, 5, 6. These are purely in the mother's womb. We are yet to come out. 1, 4, 5, 6 are purely in the mother's womb. No, 11. Sorry.
Not 11.
11 years. 11, number 4, number 5, number 6. They are in pure in mother's womb. Then number 7. Number 7, partly in mother's womb, partly outside the mother's womb. Then number 8, 9, 10, generally, number 8, 9, 10, outside the mother's womb. But if the child dies in the mother's womb, then even number 8, 9, 10 can happen in the mother's womb. If the child dies in the mother's womb, in the field.
But in all cases, 8, 9, and 10 are near the end of a life.
Yes, closer towards the end of life. Then number 12 in the mother's womb as well as outside the mother's womb.
The child dying in the mother's womb is a result of a bad problem.
Say it again?
The child dying in the mother's womb.
Yes.
Is a result of a very bad problem.
Human child?
Yes.
Yes.
The child is not given an opportunity to, be the producer again. So how does the
yes, it's the result of negative karma, no doubt. No doubt, it's because of negative karma.
Should I just ask it specifically human child?
Yes.
You say in case of animals?
Because they say the hungry goes, earlier you die, better. Yeah. Helping, earlier you die, better. Right? So they want to die, they cannot die. Till the karma exhausts, they don't die.
Is that a lifetime or not?
Which one?
If you die in the mother's womb, is that a lifetime?
Lifetime meaning?
Is that considered a lifetime?
It's a cycle.
Of course, there's a full cycle there.
It's a lifetime?
Yes.
Because it begins at conception, it begins at 11, correct?
Yes. Number 11 is the number 11. Then number 4, 5, 6. Then number 7. And then 8, 9, 10. All happens in the mother's womb.
Practically, how could a fetus have 8, 9, 10 that causes it?
That's exactly.
Yeah, I mean, practically.
No, they say the child, let's say, the child who comes out. And 1 minute before coming out, what's the difference? Child that comes out, cries. Right? You can see that he's so living. He has the emotions, living, crying. 1 minute before the child was in the mother's womb, what's the difference between these two? One does not have emotion, one has emotion. If the one outside is emotion, inside 1 minute before, for sure has the emotions. So 8, 9, 10, all these things are there. Now the point is, say, before 8, 9, 10, number 4. At some number 4, while is just the conception, first moment conception, then it starts growing, different phases of the growth. So there, just first week, second week can die. So there also, number the not really, okay, 7, 8, 7, number 7 is very subtle. Very subtle, is not as gross as what we have. Because of the body we have developed, but by the way, they do have the bodily feelings. They do not have the feelings associated with the other senses, but the body and the mental consciousness, these two are there with them. So bodily related feelings are there. It may not be as sharp as what we have. What we have, nervous system, is so developed with us, but it's there, the nervous system is not yet fully developed. What you good? We stop here. Om Gati Gati